And as we mentioned earlier in the newscast, Secretary of State says that there are about 200 Americans who are still stuck in Afghanistan.
Joining us now with more insight on that evacuation and more, Washington Post national security reporter Dan Lamothe. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan.
Thank you.
Question. There are many Americans they had to leave in Kabul today, in Afghanistan. How are they going to get out? And I've been hearing from people on other networks saying that, they didn't know that today was going to be the last flight out. What can America, or what is America doing to get them out, since today was the last day?
It's likely going to be a long, slow slog to deal with the Americans left who want to leave, who did not yet get out. There were some Americans we know that tried to get to the airport and just missed the window. That is likely not so much a function of them being slow to the draw or them not being willing, so much as the great difficulty it took to get to the airport, the Taliban checkpoints, the violence that we saw near the airport dissuaded people. They hoped it would get better. It did not. There was a lot going on here.
Well, Dan, the UN said today that a humanitarian crisis, which is going to be even worse, is just beginning. And the World Health Organization delivered a shipment of medical supplies today. Can you tell me about that effort and what is to come on that front?
Yes, in many ways, the humanitarian aid, the financial aid, whatever sort of carrots there might be, is really, I think, what the United States is going to rely on here to get continued Taliban cooperation. The Taliban need to govern now, and they haven't really done that in 20 years, and they weren't particularly good at it before then. So, if they're going to in some way modernize, in some way take care of the citizens they have now, that is something they're going to rely on.
Well, Blinken said that he is not ready to recognize the Taliban as a legitimate government. Do you think that that's possible anytime down the road?
I think it's hard to say. I think there's a lot of wait and see right now. The Taliban have promised a number of things. They have promised to let Afghans that want to leave the country. They have promised to let Americans who are still there leave if they want. But there are a lot of questions about whether or not the Taliban follows suit on these things, particularly once the situation where, we are gone now. Like there aren't necessarily the things hanging over them the way they would have been before. The Taliban is free to do what they want now in their country.
How much has this 20-year war cost the U.S. as far as money, as far as deaths?
The estimates range on the money. It's often pegged at about $2 trillion. In terms of loss of life, 2,400 American service members plus, including the 13 last week.
Will we ever recover from this?
I think this is something we're going to have to grapple with for decades to come. This is something that's going to require decades of care for veterans. It's going to require a reassessment of where our standing is in the international community. This is going to be something that really hangs with us in a lot of ways that I think we're only starting to grapple with.
Even though the United States is no longer in Afghanistan effective today, we're still seeing these over-the-horizon counterterrorism measures. Case in point, the drone strike yesterday. Can we expect more of those?
I think we can. So there's been 2 strikes like that. There was the one yesterday in Kabul itself, not far from the airport. There was an additional one late last week on some Islamic State individuals. They called them planners. We really don't have much information on who these people were or if they particularly had any strategic value. The problem with these over-the-horizon strikes is these aircraft are flying from a very long distance, other countries, 4, 5, 6 hours away. So you can only keep them overhead for a few hours. So you're not going to be able to do the surveillance that the United States military is accustomed to. And then in addition to that, we don't have the intelligence assets on the ground that we used to either. So it's going to be really hard to keep track of what's going on there. You can't do everything from the air.
Thank you, Dan. Dan Lamothe, Washington Post national security reporter. Be safe, be well.